Welcome to She Who Rises, the interview series where we shine a light on the bold, brilliant, and resilient women of the ambitious ladies of London community. I'm your host, Lorraine Quick, and together today we'll explore the stories of women who are navigating life transitions, rediscovering purpose, and redefining ambition. These conversations are casual, real, and heartfelt. They're designed to inspire you with wisdom, courage, and also to serve as a reminder that we rise higher when we rise together. Today, I'm excited to welcome Maisie Aird, a social media consultant. She specializes in helping business owners increase their visibility and attract new clients through the power of social media. In our conversation, we'll explore her journey, the lessons she's learned along the way, and the inspiring message she has for women everywhere. So let's get started. This is She Who Rises. My first question, Maisie, that I'll start with today is what chapter of life are you in right now? What are you navigating? What are you embracing?
First of all, thank you so much for having me on this lovely podcast video chat. I'm really honored to be considered one of the ambitious ladies of London. Um, so where I am today is I started my current business as a consultant a bit less than a year ago, after having tried various things, and I thought I'm going to do something that I really want to do, that I've thought up myself for the first time. And I'm actually going to take the plunge and I'm going to start my own business. So I did. And where I am today is I'm in the middle actually of scaling my business to the next level. I've got a few projects in the works, and I'm so excited to launch, the main one towards the end of this year. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I'm still very much in the growth process. I'm still very sort of early days in the great scheme of businesses, but it's really exciting and going well.
Congratulations. It's,
Thank you.
I think sometimes when we start businesses, we have this illusion that we sort of like work really hard and then we like get there. And
Hmm.
what we learn is we don't ever get there. We keep growing and expanding in maybe in business ways in terms of more clients, more money, but sometimes it's in depth, right? The deeper that
Hmm.
we go with our clients and the work that we do. So growth is around us all the time, and transitions happen all the time as we navigate a business that we own ourselves. So congratulations for getting started, taking that leap. But also, I'm really excited to hear that you are also moving forward and growing the business as well, moving into new steps and new stages.
Hmm.
When you got started, and as you are here today, what has helped you stay connected to your purpose or even continually rediscover what that purpose is or what your purpose is?
Well, I've always been somebody who is very ambitious. I've always been very stubborn and very determined. Personality traits that I got from my nana. Um, so I've always had a certain drive, and quite often, if I get an idea and I set my mind to something, I will do whatever I can to try and get there. So in that respect, that drive has kind of already been there throughout my life in everything that I do. But starting my own business was really something that I think I massively underestimated, and how how big of a project it actually was and is. So there have been quite a few times where I've thought, is this the right path? Am I going to make it? Am I going to be able to keep going and get to where I want to be? But I have to say that what keeps me going is I have so many dreams. I'm a big dreamer. There's so many things that I want to do in my life. And in order to get there, I want to have the freedom in my professional life and the ability to kind of be more in charge of what I'm doing and in charge of my finances and my my well-being, my network, all of that. And running my own business is going to allow me to get to where I want to be and do all of the things and accomplish all of the things I want to do. So that's what keeps me going. It's my dreams and all the things that I want to do in my life.
It's that big picture, how the business is not your life, but it creates the life that you want
Mm,
to live. And so it's part of
absolutely.
that, right? And to
Yeah,
stop it means to stop everything else. That's what I'm hearing. So just remembering that reminds you, makes you feel re-inspired to keep going, to know who you are and to push.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. I think I resonate with that so well in terms of my own experience running a business. So great. How do you think, Maisie, your friendships have shaped your business journey? Have you had lots of friends and have they supported and helped you, or not at all? I'm curious.
Um, my two best friends, one I met at secondary school, one I met at college later on. Um, One of them said when I said that I was going to start off on this journey and start my own business, she sort of looked very wide-eyed and was sort of like, wow, that's brave. It's kind of like, oh, because she was still finishing her master's degree and then going on, she sort of knew where she was going. But I was the one who'd kind of flown the nest a bit earlier and kind of got out there a bit. So they were, she was very supportive, but was sort of like, wow, okay, well done, good luck with that. Kind of quite intimidated by, I think, the whole idea of, I mean, in the future, she said before that she'd like to have her own business, but she said it must be daunting and terrifying, which I told her it was, but that it was what I wanted to do, and that's where I wanted to go. My other best friend, who I've my longest friend, she was right behind me all the way. She also works, it's a bit different to what I do, but she also works with social media for a company. And when I sort of told her what I wanted to do and how I wanted to structure it, she said, "Oh, I think you'd be amazing at that." Or she was giving me tips and she's helped me so much. Honestly, I've been really lucky in that respect. So everybody's around me has been really, really supportive and including family as well as friends. So I've been really lucky in that respect.
You are, because I think a lot of times we find that people actually discourage us. They're worried for us. They know
Mm.
what the risks are and they want you to be successful, but they also want to make sure you really know what you're getting into, right?
Absolutely. And my both of my parents have well, my mum in later years, but my dad his whole life they've both been self-employed and had their own businesses. And when I told them, they were both a bit sort of like, are you sure? This is, you're quite young, you haven't had, experience in lots of different jobs yet, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I said, yeah, I want to give it a go. So they said, okay, great, go for it. But there was that sort of, I think, again, because they knew that it would be tough and that it's not plain sailing and that you're not guaranteed that, you haven't got that kind of safety net of a regular income and you're going to have to work for it. And I think they were just worried, as parents are. But they've been incredibly supportive as well. So I realized how lucky I am.
It sounds like both your family and friends, once you said, yes, I'm doing this, they're behind you 100%.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You, fantastic, fantastic. And so here's my next question is one that I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say about in terms of, have you experienced, as you evolved in business, have you experienced shifts and changes in your leadership abilities, your confidence? How has owning a business, being a businesswoman, changed you, helped you to grow?
It absolutely has. It really, really has. I think I think the biggest way that it's changed me is that I'm well, I'd like to say that I'm no longer as quick um to think that I can't do it. So it's really kind of I've proven to myself that I can do it, that that I can help people, that I can run a business, that I am doing it. And it's something, believing in myself and self-confidence is something that I have always struggled with, always, ever since I was tiny. And I think at one time owning, starting my own business was terrifying. I even said once, oh, I could never run my own business. It's too much. But here I am. And I think it proved to me that that I can, if I step out of my comfort zone, if I dare to step out of my comfort zone and I dare to take risks, it's not always as bad as you think it's going to be. Sometimes you might surprise yourself and, realize that you can do it. And I realize as well it does help that I do have seem to have inherited the right personality traits from my grandparents in the determination and the stubborn thing. Um, but yes, I really have changed. I think I've become braver, I've become more confident, I've become more confident in being myself, being more authentic. I mean, working on social media, it's inherently a kind of fake place. People have a tendency to put on a front. And I did when I started. I absolutely did. I was scared to let that barrier down. And when I finally started to, um, not that long ago, the results have been amazing, both in, clients and people that I speak to, and in myself. I feel so much more comfortable with it. And yes, I've become so much more brave. It's just, it really, really has changed me for the better. And now I feel like I can do things that at one time I would have questioned whether I was able to, but now I feel I can.
I think it's kind of ironic that, in working in the field of social media where everything or many people are putting up a facade or an image of who they want the world to know them as, you found a way to become authentically yourself, which empowered you to be more confident and more courageous.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's hard. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, it's very difficult, but when you are able to, it really makes all the difference.
So what's the trick? What's the key to that? How did you do that? Give me your secret.
Um, honestly, I'd like to say that there is a secret and like just a flick of the magic wand, but I don't think there is. I think you have to just do it. You have to find a way. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big, shouty thing. Just start small. I know that with me, it helped. I started sharing small, slightly more personal things on my Instagram stories. I'm somebody who loves an interesting pair of socks. I love socks. And I bought a strange pair for Halloween last year, and I put that on, and loads of people voted on the stickers that I put on, saying, "Oh, I love the socks; they're great." And so I did another one for Christmas, and that kind of broke the ice. And I was like, "Oh, okay, people like this. Okay."
Yeah.
And so I started talking more about my animals and all this, and you kind of just have to take the plunge and just stay true to yourself. Really try as much as
Sounds like a
possible.
little teeny tiny steps that get
Mm,
a momentum going,
yes.
allows you to reveal yourself and maybe even learn a little bit more about who you are.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you kind of, the biggest worry for me, and I think it is for a lot of people, is that you're worried of like the backlash or the potential kind of trolling you might get, or somebody might say something, or you think you're going to make a fool of yourself, or you're going to appear unprofessional. That's another one. But the thing is that because you are running a business and you're a business owner or a service provider, people want that connection. They want to come to somebody that they trust and that they feel they know. And the only way that they can do that and you're going to gain that trust is by being yourself. And that doesn't mean you have to live your life on social media. You don't have to share everything, but little bits that are going to just make that personal. It's just that personal touch, create that personal connection, and it really, really, really does help. You just have to take the plunge, start small, and then just keep going with what you're comfortable with.
Oh, cool. And so you've mentioned to me that you inherited an ambitious approach to life, that you are an ambitious woman. How do
Mhm.
you define ambition in your life today?
Um, I think I I don't know. I think you can define it many different ways, but I think because again, I'm so focused on what I want to achieve and all the different things that I want to do in my life and all of these things that I want to do and places I want to visit and places things that I want to do with my business. I think I think that is ambition to me. It's just living my dreams. Going as far as I can, doing as much as I can, and doing everything that I want and achieving things that I want to achieve. That's kind of ambition for me, I guess. It's kind of probably the usual sense of ambition. I don't know, but yeah.
I think it's pretty unique. But also what I see here is you as a woman living limitless. If
And
you
that's not always been the case. That's something I've learned to try and let go of limits. And yeah, I've opened
something you
myself up a
want,
lot
if
more.
you want an experience, you are like, I can do this. I'm going after that. I'm embracing it, and so you're ambitious for the quality of life that you live, not like I'm ambitious to beat everyone to the finish line, kind of
Yeah.
competition kind of thing, but just to live
Mm.
your best life.
Absolutely. I've never really been competitive.
Mhm.
Never, even as a child. The slight mention of a competition, I would bow out. I would just, nope, not for me. It's never been what drives me. Competition, commission, things like that doesn't drive me at all. And I have to say, it's been hard for me to um live without a plan, if that makes sense. But I know what I want to do in my life, and I'm working to achieve those goals. So yeah, that's what ambition is to me, to get to where I want to be, basically.
Love it. So, if you could give advice to or encouragement to a woman who is going into this very same season of life that you're in terms of growing your business and becoming more full into yourself as a businesswoman, what would you tell her?
Um, it's so hard. I think this is and I've done content on this before and posts on this before, but I always hated when people used to say to me, trust the process. Because I used to think to myself, yeah, it's easier said than done. Trust the process, but how can I trust that that's going to work? But honestly, trust the process. I think I think it is some one of the biggest things that I've learned is that it takes time. No matter what anybody says, or no matter what anybody does, whether people are saying, follow what I do and you'll be on 5K months in 3 months and do this and do that and you can be a millionaire by doing this. No. It takes time and it takes a lot of motivation to keep going when the times are tough. And it takes a lot of consistency, which I am not good at, but I'm working on it.
Mhm.
Um, and it is hard. So, in the times when you feel rubbish and you feel like it's not working, take a step back, take a day off, take a day away from it, take a weekend away from it, and then come back to it. Don't force anything. Don't force yourself to keep going if you feel like you're burning out, because it's the worst thing. I've done it lots, and you know, at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, I think I came near to burnout about 4 times,
Mm.
and it's not worth it. And I've learned now, I recognize the signs. If you're struggling, take a day away from it. The world is not going to crumble if you just take some time away, gather yourself, then come back to it with a logical head, um, and just trust that time will, you will get there, even though it's hard. But yes, I think I would have appreciated somebody saying that to me when I started that, yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take a long time. But if you just keep going, keep, ticking along, you will get there.
I love that actually, especially the part about just taking a day. Take an afternoon, take something,
Mhm.
step away so that you get a different perspective when you come back. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you are a member of Ambitious Ladies of London. How has
Yeah.
being a part of our community impacted your journey personally, professionally? How has that helped?
It's it has helped tremendously. Um, it's helped my confidence definitely, because it's almost like you can kind of if you're starting your business or you're fairly new in your business, as I was when I joined Ambitious Ladies, it's kind of a place to test the waters with your business. So you're able to kind of talk to other women about what they're doing. You can talk about what you're doing. You can talk about your offers, your services or your product or whatever it is that you offer. And it's kind of a way to test things out, test your content even, test, pitching, things like that. With the retreats that Doreen runs, you can come along and ask questions. And it's kind of makes it less scary because you're in a group rather than sort of saying it to the whole world, coming out with with your services and everything. You can kind of test the waters with it. Um, and I know that helped me massively. Doreen has just been incredible. It's always amazing to go to. She's amazing to go to for advice. And I think it was so lovely actually to see that I wasn't the only one. And
Mhm.
it sounds like simple and kind of obvious, but when you do start your business, you have sometimes you get the impression that you're the only one having ever gone through this and that it's horrible. And you're thinking, gosh, why does nobody else seem to be struggling? So when you come to a group like Ambitious Ladies and you can meet loads of other incredible business owners, female business owners, you see that they have down days as well,
Mhm.
as we all do. They have amazing days when they're celebrating a win, or whether it's very small or a big win, and it's just a place to kind of you just feel better. There are people there you could go on, you could message them at any time of the day and say, I'm having an awful day today. This has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And either someone will come on and say, oh, I'm so sorry you're feeling that way, or somebody will come on and put something on there and it'll make you laugh. And it just means that you're not alone and you don't, there are loads of other people going through the same thing you are, and you don't have to struggle on by yourself.
It's really a very powerful network of support.
Mm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It really, really, really is. Yeah. And it's a great place for advice, for those who've been in business longer or, who maybe have different areas of expertise. It's a great way to find clients. Quite often people go, oh, actually, yeah, does anybody know a so and so, so and so? And someone else will say, oh, yes, um, you know, whoever's there's somebody in this group who can help you with that. And you can even find work that way. Even if you're not looking for work, you might have somebody who comes along and says, "Oh, actually, I could really do with your help for this and that." So it's really an all-rounder. There's something for everybody. You will absolutely get something out of it.
And so my final question is, what would you tell another woman who's considering joining Ambitious Ladies of London? What would you say to her?
I would say definitely do it. I know a lot of people are skeptical about kind of networking groups, and if it's just another networking group with lots of, promos and all of that. That is not what Ambitious Ladies is. It's not what it's about. It's not what Doreen's about. And even I mean, and Doreen knows this. When she first contacted me, I was a bit sort of skeptical. But I joined, and honestly, it isn't like any other networking group that I've been part of. There's always conversations going, there's always laughter, there's always events going on, whether they're online or in person. So I would definitely say do it. And like I said, there's something for everybody, and you will absolutely get something out of it.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, this wraps up our session for today. What I want to say to you, Maisie, is thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your story, your wisdom. I know all of us listening will benefit from that in many different kinds of ways. Your journey reminds us that rising isn't just about achievement, it's also truly about courage, about growth, and the power to show up authentically, to show up as our true selves. If you would like to connect with Maisie, you can find her in the show notes with her contact information on various social media platforms. And I would love to encourage each of you as you are listening to this today to reach out, support her work, and also make a friend because she, from everything we've just learned all about her, would be a valuable resource, a valuable source of support in your life as you move forward working your business and seeking your ambitions. This today has been an episode of She Who Rises, where we celebrate the women of ambitious ladies of London who are leading with wisdom, heart, and courage. Until next time, dear listeners, dear viewers, please keep rising, keep shining, and remember, when one woman rises, we all rise together. Thank you so much for listening.